Your third essay in this class is an argumentative essay. As you may recall, the purpose of an argument is to persuade or convince someone of something. This video is going to introduce you to the parts that make up an argumentative thesis statement. Because you'll take 2 brief quizzes related to this video, I would recommend taking some notes as you watch it. An argumentative thesis statement has 2 explicitly stated components. Those 2 explicitly stated components are your claim and your reason or your reasons. First, let's talk about claims. As I mentioned the other day, a claim is, at base, a statement of belief. Another way to think about the claim in your essay is that this is the statement that answers the question, what's your point? So if someone picked up your essay and asked that question, the claim would be the answer. Finally, good claims are not facts so much as conclusions that the writer draws from facts and other information. Here are some examples of claims. High school students should wear uniforms rather than choose their own outfits. So this is an example of someone stating a belief, and a belief that's not factual, but which was probably drawn from facts and other information that the student consulted. If this was the claim in the student's paper, demonstrating this would be the point of the student's paper. Another example might be, video games cause children to become desensitized to violence. As I said earlier, at base, a claim is simply a statement of belief. There are, however, 2 requirements for a claim to be arguable. The claim, first of all, must be something with which other reasonable, informed people could disagree. And it must be something that you could support using evidence, so not something that's simply a matter of personal preference. This last requirement confuses people sometimes because they wonder if it means that the claim can't be your opinion. The simple answer here is that yes, the claim you make in your essay will probably be your opinion, and that's fine as long as it's an opinion that you can back up with evidence. If we look back at the first sample claim I gave you, we can see it fulfilling both of these requirements. First of all, people could certainly disagree with this claim, arguing instead that students in high school should be able to choose their own uniforms or outfits rather, or perhaps that there should be a strict dress code in high schools but not actual uniforms, or various other things. Plus, this claim is something you could back up with evidence, such as statistics about decreases in school violence and bullying that occurred at schools that switched to uniforms, or testimonials from students who've benefited from this switch, or information from studies done on the use of uniforms in schools. Because this claim fulfills both of these requirements, other reasonable people could disagree with it, and there are types of evidence you could use to back up this claim. This is an arguable claim. To make sure that you understand these requirements for arguable claims, I'd like you to pause this video right now and take a brief quiz on arguable claims. The quiz will present you with 6 examples of possible claims. Your job is to determine which ones fulfill both of these criteria, these requirements in other words, and which ones don't. You can take the quiz as many times as you like, so if you get an answer wrong, just pay attention for the feedback that pops up at the end of the quiz after that question, and retake the quiz with that feedback in mind. You can get to the quiz by going to the Course Information and Assignment Sheets folder on our Blackboard website, opening the Essay 3 Materials folder, and then opening the folder called Argumentative Thesis Statements, Info, and Quizzes, the same one where you found this video. Simply click on the link for the first quiz you'll see in that folder and follow the instructions. Once you've completed the quiz, come back and watch the end of this video. Now that you've thought carefully about the first part of an argumentative thesis statement, let's take some time to consider the second part. The second part of an argumentative thesis statement is your reason or your reasons. One good way to think about the reason or reasons in a thesis statement is as the because statement that follows the claim. Here's my claim because, and then you'd state the reason. Another way to think about this is that within a thesis statement, the reason is the statement that offers support to back up the claim. Here are some examples. The underlined part of the following statement is the reason. So, for example, high school students should wear uniforms rather than choose their own outfits because uniforms help reduce violence in schools. The because uniforms help to reduce violence in schools part of this statement would be the reason. If we go to the other claim that I offered to you earlier, we can see a complete thesis statement here with reasons added as well. Video games cause children to become desensitized to violence because they associate violence and killing with pleasure and entertainment. Notice that in both cases, the reasons give us a window into what kind of evidence the student will be bringing in to back up the claim that they're putting forward. So this first thesis statement, for instance, signals to us that the student's evidence will all be related to how uniforms have helped to reduce violence in schools. Those are going to be the reasons that the student offers for the claim high school students should wear uniforms rather than choose their own outfits. If the student had additional evidence, say related to student test scores going up at schools that have switched to uniforms, then that should also be part of the student's thesis. For example, what you see here. High school students should wear uniforms rather than choose their own outfits because uniforms help reduce violence in schools and they lead to an increase in student test scores. Both of the underlined portions of this thesis statement would be examples of reasons in the thesis statement. So basically, a good thesis statement should tell the reader what your point is in your paper, the claim that you see here highlighted, and the kind of evidence that you'll be using to back up this point, the reasons that are highlighted right here. A good argumentative thesis statement does both of these things. Now that you've finished watching this video, please take the second quiz in the Argumentative Thesis Statements Info and Quizzes folder. Just like the first quiz, you can take this one multiple times. So if you get an answer wrong, just pay attention for the feedback that pops up at the end of the quiz after that question and retake the quiz with that feedback in mind.